I've explored some of the wildest places on Earth, but my favourite is still Britain. In this series, I'm going to travel from dawn till dusk, carving 6 individual trails through spectacular, diverse landscapes in order to explore each unique habitat and the incredible wildlife that exists there. I'll journey along rivers, navigate my way through forests and across mountains in search of some of our greatest national treasures. I'm really excited. I've flown up to Scotland this morning, I've driven across the Highlands, and now I'm poised before the Isle of Skye. The Isle of Skye is the largest of the Inner Hebrides, situated just off the west coast of mainland Scotland. Its dramatic landscape is distinctly Highland, with mist-covered jagged mountains, wild seas, shimmering lochs, heather-clad moors, and sprawling beaches. It's a place of myth and legend, where the very earth tells the story of the ages. The bones and footprints of dinosaurs that once roamed the Isle have been unearthed here, along with evidence of Scotland's first settlers who arrived over 8,000 years ago. My journey will take me from the south to the north of the island in search of rare plant species, reclusive birds of prey, and ending up with a wonderful surprise on a trip to a seal colony. I'm getting there the truly romantic way, on this turntable ferry, the last of its kind in Scotland. Isn't this great? Bit of Highland history. This is the crossing from Glenelg to Skye. You can see the turnstile in action. Fantastic piece of engineering. Hello. The dog's one of the crew. Bit of Highland life. There's been a ferry here since the late 18th century. It's part of the island heritage and is now run by the community. This is a great spot to see seals, and when you go out on a boat here, they can come right alongside sometimes. Always worth keeping the eyes peeled, especially when the tide is turning. Brings lots of nutrients in, the fish come in for the nutrients, the seals come in for the fish. There's one there now. Common seals like these, with their dog-like faces, are curious animals and can often be seen in harbours close to the boats. These incredibly agile creatures can dive for up to 10 minutes, reaching depths of 50 metres. Leaving the seal to its fishing, I catch sight of something I came to Skye hoping to see, Britain's largest bird of prey. Well, that's a white-tailed or seagull, and is being mobbed by a couple of hooded crows there by the looks of it. And those crows, pretty brave, but they're seeing off a threat as they perceive it. But the eagle doesn't look in the least bit concerned. The only place in the UK that you will find sea eagles is here, in the Highlands. Once widespread across the whole of the country, they were wiped out in Britain in the early 20th century. Blamed for killing livestock, all were illegally shot or poisoned. The birds returned to the Western Isles in the 70s after being reintroduced from Norway, and it's been a real success, as now 22 pairs live here. Lovely white tail. You see that fan-shaped white tail, so distinctive. When they sit there, you see a beautiful yellow bill and their yellow legs. It's a really beautiful bird. He's chasing that black-backed gull. What? Keep on him, keep on him. Keep on him, keep on him. The gull has obviously had a fish, and now he wants it. You try and get it to regurgitate it. He's not gonna give in. That is quite a pursuit. Whoa, whoa, look at that. This is as good as anything you'd see on the Serengeti. The sea eagle has a wingspan of around 8 feet, yet is remarkably agile for such a large bird. During aerial pursuits like this, it can reach speeds of over 60 miles an hour. This is a battle of endurance now. The eagle wants the meal that the gull has had, and the gull doesn't want to give it up. Tenacity of that eagle. I can hear the gull made a little call there. The gull's calling help. Wow, that is some display. Oh, the eagle's given up. So the gull wins that round. A lot of energy expended there. Well, that eagle's gone down to rest now, but the gull won on this occasion. Fantastic thing to see. One irritated-looking eagle. And now it's being mobbed by the hooded crows again. It's a tough life. And this is a tough isle, battered and beaten by all sorts of geological forces. The rocks here tell its very history and are amongst some of the oldest in the world, forming over 450 million years ago. The unique landscape we see today was carved by the last ice age, slicing valleys and leaving a legacy of stunning locks. Intense volcanic activity and spectacular landslides created the isle's famous mountain range, the mighty Kulins. The evolution of the island brought a wetter climate, and peat bogs appeared on the higher ground, home now to some fascinating plants. Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
Hello, Roy.
Local botanist Nick Hodgetts is here to tell me more.
The habitat itself is special. The bog there's plenty of it here, but internationally this kind of bog is quite restricted. And because of the relatively warm, wet weather we get by being on the edge of the Atlantic, you get a very special assemblage of plants. Things that demand wet, warm weather and don't like too much frost.
It's the Gulf Stream that warms the air above Skye, protecting it from extreme temperatures and creating ideal habitats for rare plant species.
You get plants growing here that only grow in Scotland, crop up again on the west coast of America, and again maybe in the Himalayas, nowhere else. For example, there's the small louseworts down here.
Beautiful.
A beautiful purple plant with these sort of asymmetrical flowers. And then we've got the milkwort over here, often bright blue, but sometimes goes all the way to pure white.
But what most excites me about this habitat is the way you can see evolution at work, particularly when you look at carnivorous, insect-eating plants. There are actually 9 species native to Britain, and incredibly, all can be found on Skye. The boggy soil here is thin, and these plants can't get all the nutrients they need, so have adapted and learned to digest the insects that land on them. This is one of my favourites. I always like to see it, the sundew. It sort of sits there with leaves that look like a baseball catcher's mitt, covered in little globules of glue. They're little jewels of death. What happens is that the plant puts out a chemical that attracts insects to it. And when they land, they get stuck on these beautiful globules of glue. And then the plant closes over the insect ever so slowly. And it gets all gummed up and asphyxiates as its breathing apparatus gets clogged up. The plant digests the insect and gains its nutrients that way. On a midgy island like this, I'm quite glad to see those, because midges are one of their principal sources of food. There's another carnivorous plant, if you like, just over here that's in flower. These little plants here are called butterwort, and you can see they're in flower. And they look really innocuous and innocent, but of course they're not. Insects get attracted to these too by scent and then are digested. There is a theory that these plants also maybe produce their own insecticide to ensure a more reliable kill. And I've watched them quite a lot. I think there's probably some truth in that. They don't seem to have quite the same apparatus as the sundew, but clearly they're just as effective. Time to hit the road again and wind my way up to the mountains in the north of the island in search of the most formidable aerial predator, the golden eagle. I'm travelling across the beautiful Isle of Skye in search of the incredible wildlife that have made their home in this unique landscape. Now I'm heading to the north of the island on the trail of one of the rarest and most elusive birds of prey, the golden eagle. Helping me is Alison McLennan, who has been monitoring the eagles on the island for the last 20 years. Skye is perfect golden eagle country, as their natural habitat is high up in these remote rocky crags.
It's too busy here for actual nesting sites, but you know, you do get them drifting along here. Just there's very good thermals, good updrafts on that.
Thermals are rising currents of warm air. The eagles are able to ride the air and climb to higher altitudes, searching for food, using very little energy in the process. This is important as their territories can be huge, up to 150 square kilometres. What a landscape. Only 30 of the 400 pairs of golden eagles in Britain live here on Skye, so catching sight of these birds can be like looking for a needle in a haystack. We're very lucky with the weather today to be able to see that. But we're not as lucky spotting the golden eagle here, so we press on to another location.
Oh, could be an eagle.
You got one?
Yeah, got an eagle. Just into the blue.
That's it. That's a good spot.
You get a good updraft there, won't you?
Yeah, very. Golden eagles are the kings of the sky, powerful predators hunting for prey from the air. Once it spots its target, they swoop down at a speed of over 90 miles an hour, striking and killing with its fearsome talons. Their incredible eyesight means they can see prey as small as a mouse from over a mile away. But their main diet here is rabbit.
We've got a special protection area for golden eagles on the island, which is largely over the Coolin Hills area. And they've done some studies of the golden eagles there. And it's interesting that a lot of the flight patterns that show that where they're hunting, it's following all the little rabbit wardens and things that there are around the islands.
Like the sea eagle, the golden eagle once soared all over the UK. But over 100 years ago, they were virtually wiped out by man. Here they survived, but in recent years, numbers have shown a worrying decline. Blamed for killing livestock, some are illegally shot or poisoned, and human disturbance of nests during breeding are the reasons behind the falling population. People often wonder why they're called golden, but you can just see that there, as the rays of the sun glint off of the nape of its neck and the edge of its back. You can see that golden sheen. And our luck really is in when a second golden eagle appears. Oh, look at that. 2 birds. That's magnificent. Almost like gargoyles of some Victorian building. Do they pair for life?
They do indeed. And life for a golden eagle can be about 25, 30 years. So it's a long partnership they have, but they don't breed every year. And with golden eagles, occasionally they'll rear 2 chicks, but normally it's just the one.
And what about this pair here?
Well, this pair don't seem to be showing any interest in a nest at the moment. The fact that they're out here on the crags loafing around would suggest that they've probably failed in their breeding attempt this year, if they did attempt to breed at all.
Oh, there they go. Here comes one coming down in front of the cliffs. Just going up over the edge now, left to right. Oh, look at that. So effortless. I have to admit that this is my favourite eagle. The golden eagle is just such a, wow, it's a magnificent bird.
Oh, look at the shape in the wing there. You can see
That's
that.
magnificent.
Yeah, that very characteristic profile.
Oh, I love it when they fold their wings in like that.
They tuck their wings and just drop like a stone, don't they?
It's magical. I leave the eagles and these magnificent mountains behind, as now I want to explore the life that lives in the waters that surround this isle. I'm hooking up with local guide and fisherman Mitchell Partridge, who's taking me to a beautiful and secret spot in search of one of Britain's most endangered mammals, the otter.
So her territory, the main areas that we see her, are from here around to the river mouth.
Yeah.
Now, I was here the other morning fishing with a gentleman just over there, and she actually came in right across the river mouth.
This is a good vantage point.
Fresh water where she needs to wash.
A lot of people think they're sea otters, of course they're not.
No.
They're river otters, they have to go to fresh water every day.
They do quite well around here, as you can see. There's nobody about apart from us. Crystal clear waters, everything they need.
Oh, it's pristine, the waters here are astonishing. Otters are incredibly elusive creatures, and seeing one in the wild is really very rare. The best way is to search for evidence of their droppings, known as spraint. It's a really good spot you've picked. You know, local knowledge you can't beat. These rocks are covered in feeding signs.
Yeah, there's spraint everywhere.
Spraint everywhere, broken shell, everything. After 4 hours of waiting, finally there's movement in the water. Is it a seal or an otter? Yeah. Yeah, it's a seal. For a minute it looked like an otter. They're beautiful to watch. I love watching seals. Sadly, it's a no-show from the otter, but our hours here certainly weren't in vain. And as we're heading off, Mitchell tells me about something rather special happening right now out at sea. So I'm on my way to the south of the island, to the port of Elgol. Nice to see you. Thank you. I'm travelling across the water to a cluster of rocks in the shadow of the Coolin Mountains and home to a large seal colony. Joining me is marine biologist Ellie McLennan.
This is a resident population, so there's about 150, 200 seals here.
When they're dry like that, they really blend in well, don't they, with the rocks?
Yeah. Really good colour variation though. I mean, they'll go anything from almost black to really pale, like this one here is almost white.
Yeah, look at this, it's got a stripe through it.
Yeah.
In fact, 90% of the UK's population of common seals, like these, can be found in Scottish waters.
It's playing.
This is their place.
This is.
Wow, look at that. They're such curious animals, aren't they? They look ungainly on land, but in the water, they're amazing.
Oh yeah, very, very agile in the water. They actually use more energy on land, hauling themselves up to rest, than they do when they're hunting in the water.
I don't believe that.
The females will be very pregnant at the moment. They're due to pup, usually around the first couple of weeks of June.
Yep.
Although I think there is one pup has already arrived.
Really?
Which we might be able to see. It'll be very small and it'll be jet black. And it will probably be low, close to the waterline. When they're born, they're ready to go in the water. They're actually born below the high water mark, so that when the next tide comes in, they're ready to swim.
Amazing. Most people think of seal pups being pure white, but these common seals shed their white fur before being born, starting life with a darker version of their adult coat.
That call might be a sign of a pup.
I'm looking, yeah.
They're usually silent unless they're calling to a pup.
Is that the pup there?
It is.
Look how tiny that is. Oh, look at that. Having a rest. What, about 2 days, 3 days old?
About 2 days old, yeah.
Oh.
So it'll be weighing about 8 to 10 kilos at the moment. And it'll feed on its mother's milk for the first 4 to 6 weeks.
And pretty good weight gain, I imagine, during that period.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The milk is about 50% fat, and about 85% of what the pup consumes will then be turned into blubber.
First pup of the season, isn't that magic?
It's time to head back over the water, with my trip to this wondrous isle nearly over. But it seems I'm in for one last treat before I leave, as a golden eagle makes an appearance, soaring above.
Wonderful sight. I could watch that bird all day long. It's so majestic. And it makes our puny efforts at moving through this landscape seem completely ridiculous. It's wonderful. Look at that. That is the classic view of an eagle. Wow. You know, native people all over the world considered eagles to have a special affinity with the Creator because they flew so high. I think they're right. Well, I was excited about coming to Skye, and it hasn't disappointed me. It really is an amazing place. Some of the wildlife I've seen here has been beautiful. That seal pup, the first of the season. What a privilege to be able to see that. And then there was the white-tailed eagle chasing a gull. That was sheer poetry. But you know, even if I hadn't seen any wildlife at all, I still wouldn't be disappointed, because the Isle of Skye is a star in its own right. The form of the land, the geology here is so stunning. It really is one of the jewels in the crown that is wild Britain.
Well, Keith was causing chaos at Christmas with a special Through the Keyhole. It's there to catch up with any time on ITV Player. Well, on New Year's Day here on ITV, the late Heath Ledger is the Joker causing chaos in Gotham City. The Dark Knight is our movie at 9. Next tonight, though, it's the last ever Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 2.